Your hair looks good, Lewis. Don't worry. That was the queue at 3:22. I kid you not. That is the line. People lining up to have a good spot in the room for the pineal gland meditation. It's crazy. People are lining up apparently from 3.
Yeah, like 2:30 is what I was told. Even the day before.
Yeah. But I wanted to get in early as well so that I have enough room for my long legs. And I had a good spot actually right next to the stage at the front. And it was really good because I managed to completely let go, completely relax, not having to, worry if there's someone next to me or whatever. And I had an incredible pineal gland meditation. I was just really into it from the start. I was spaced out. I was, between sleepy and happy and
yeah, for sure.
That's the state where you're playful and you're just doing it. You're going for it. You don't care. That's usually when the magic happens. And after a while, I felt this, when you fall asleep and like one of your limbs or your legs can like jerk a little bit, Well, I had that with like my whole body was like, I was like, what the fuck was that? And it was like the on switch of this energy inside of me. And there was like a few seconds where nothing was happening. And then gradually, like I started having these contractions in my abdominal muscles, just like I had on the first meditation of the second day, but I hadn't had since. And I just came back and my abdominal muscles were contracting and shaking. And like I felt as if stuck emotions and stuck energy from my lower 3 energy centers were just being shaken loose to be released. This time it was actually also going up to my chest. It took it was on and off for at least an hour, maybe an hour and a half. Like 3 or 4 times my head was actually like off the ground from the intensity of it. And I was enjoying it, and I was experimenting with it as well. So I would say things like, I'm a mystic, and then I would have a jolt. And I'd say it again, and then again something would happen. Or I'm surrendering this thing. Or, I would just play around with certain thoughts and affirmations and communicate with this energy or these spirits or these whatever it is that is, kind of contributing to this phenomenon. We don't really know. It could be interdimensional beings, it could be spirits. I don't care.
I don't know that it matters.
It doesn't matter exactly. And it was just this beautiful play. It was really powerful. And
That's
I
awesome.
had a really great theta healing from Nicole yesterday, where she's so good at it.
Yeah.
You've had sessions too, right?
Yeah, she gave me 2, and they are profound for sure.
It's the questions that she asks, then she does a little bit of applied kinesiology, and then she just closes her eyes and tunes into knowledge from the field, and she's so spot on, and she managed to uncover some really deep-seated limiting beliefs related to worthiness, which were connected, to my dad, and underneath that was actually beliefs I had about the universe.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is something else for sure.
Yeah. So I think that helped, and then this pineal gland meditation, and it was amazing.
I had to have helped. The first time I had a full release in a meditation was right after the day that she did both of those healings on me also.
I had a thing with the throat that you said in...
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, she's something else, and that's great. What I wanted to ask is, were you able to see the kaleidoscopes?
No.
In those, but it didn't even matter, huh?
No, man. I was really in theta or alpha. I was there, and I was closed, eyes closed the whole time, and sometimes a little bit open. But I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't falling asleep, even though I slept 3 hours, literally. I don't know. I managed to really stay in that state, and that's what Joe recommends us. Stay there as long as you can, and that's when you get rewarded. Yeah, that's when you're between the analytical mind and the what's the other thing, the
subconscious.
I guess subconscious mind, and that's the door to actually go into your mystical experience or release or whatever it is.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And that's great. tips, right, for all of us, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, and then once the energy started, I had so much energy. I mean, it was just doing its thing. There was not a moment, even when Joe was not speaking and it was just meditation music, and the room was quiet. There was no part in me that wanted to sleep. It was amazing.
That's awesome. Mine was good, right? So I'm wondering now if maybe that kaleidoscope was limiting me a little bit, because where I was sitting, I was behind rows of chairs, but not on a chair. I was just on my mat, so I couldn't see the screen that was right in front of me. So I'm having to lean back to try and see the screen of the kaleidoscope over here, like the little TV, and I'm just nodding off this and then nodding forward, right? Just trying to watch the screen, right? But once we were finally done with all that, and we were just doing the breathworks, that different style of breathwork that we did, where we laid down and breathed and followed our breath all the way up to the top, up all of our chakras, right? And to touch our pineal gland, and then hold it there, and then do the squeezing and contract all your muscles all the way up. This worked way better for me, and I kept getting tons of energy running through me too. I'm there shaking, right, and I'm also having a lot of buzzing in my head, and like flashing white lights and stuff behind my eyes. I think what slowed me down again is that I kept getting excited every time it happened. So I'm like, oh, look, this is awesome. And then, man, so I, again, just need to work on surrendering. But it was a very, very good meditation. I had a lot of energy moving through me. I had a lot of, this time, like your previous session, I had a lot of thoughts that were coming through me about my life, but I wasn't judging them this time, and I wasn't trying to just push them away. I was just kind of letting them be, and they were actually helpful. They were actually helpful. I was seeing that I don't know what you want to call it, downloading information or getting tips from the universe, whoever, whatever. I was getting help, directly told to me, and it was really, really cool. And I'm really just grateful that I could even have an experience like that, to tell you the truth. And what's more is I simply did not want that meditation to end. There were times that once that happened, I was, no, this is exactly when I woke up all the way. There was one lady that released, and she released so loud and for so long. That was maybe a minute straight of just a straight howl, which is beautiful. But that woke me straight up.
Go, sister.
And after that, I had no problems about falling asleep. And then, I was really able to get into it, And what's cool too is that I was able to remember Joe's instructions to really go for it, right? He's saying, go for it. Like, breathe like you want it, and I'm really just letting go and going for it these times. And that's when it was really, really great, and I just did not want it to end, and then it ended, and I was like, man, I cannot believe this. This has been 4 hours. It was what, 4 hours and 20 minutes or so, 4:50, and it just flew by, and I'm like, I literally could have done that all day, and I was super buzzed afterwards, and I only slept 2 hours, so I was actually quite tired when I got in there this morning, but by the end I was buzzed, man. That was really cool.
So, yeah, okay. I want to get to something, but let's continue first. We did another Coherent healing. Joe gave a really inspiring talk about continuing the work, because when you're with 950,000 people getting up as a group, meditating, it's easy to do the work. But when you get home and you're again with your familiar environment, it's easy to not have the time or having other so-called priorities. But just as he said, he stretches us beyond what we're comfortable to do. You know, like we get up at 2:30 to be meditating at 4. We you know, he takes us through this, you know, physical activities as well that we have to overcome ourselves.
Yeah, for sure.
And he says, you know, if you look back, you realize that these challenges, when you've been stretched, as a result of that, you have evolved, you have grown. So wouldn't you say that it was worth it? Yes. So
Yeah,
then,
of course.
why wouldn't you continue doing that at home? Why wouldn't you keep on pushing yourself if you know it's going to benefit you, right?
I can't see a reason not to.
It's so important to, you know, get up early, do the work, because, you know, you're connecting to source, you're connecting to the divine, and it matches your efforts. You know, it's like a love affair. If you're in a relationship with someone, you're gonna want to spend time with them. You know, you're gonna take them out for dinners, spend quality time, have good conversation,
Yeah,
and
for
that's
sure.
what maintains that relationship. Well, it's the same with your connection to yourself and with the universal energy.
Yeah, give yourself the time. Like, you matter. You matter. Give yourself the time. Like,
And it's not just for yourself, but as you know, you said yesterday, it was for
yeah,
everyone else as well. Yeah.
But you matter. So give yourself the time. Like, don't. You have the time maybe to watch TV. You have the time to, and say even if your day is fully booked, why not get up an hour early?
Yeah.
Right? Like we see, and he pushes us like you just said, so that we see that we can do it, and that's 4 hours early, 5 hours early. So 1 hour is not that much time to give yourself to grow. And I promise you, after you sit down for that time, even if it's a perceived bad meditation where it wasn't flowing all that well, these are the ones that actually you end up having the most growth from. I feel like, you know, you get a
Exactly.
lot of practice in.
It reminds me of Tony Nadal, the uncle of Rafa Nadal, the tennis
okay.
player. He has a great TED Talk, by the way, and at one point he goes, "Excuses never made anyone win."
No, they don't.
They
They
don't.
simply don't. The people that want to get something done, even if it's not meditation or anything like that, they go and get it done, right? You go and get it done. When you really want something, you go and get it done. You go and get it. So if you really want happiness, if you really want like a better life, if you whatever you want, like you can get it through meditation.
Yeah.
So like make it happen.
And
You're worth it.
synchronicities.
You know, there are
Right? The
tons
higher
of those.
frequency, the more synchronicities.
For
Which
sure.
brings me to my next thing. So I haven't got a planned, you know, regarding what I want to do the next week. I had booked a week off, and at first, like a few weeks ago, I thought maybe I can go to Cuba. It's not that far, and then fly on Friday to Madrid. But something within me was saying, just wait, just chill, like. And I've been listening to that feeling more and more, and that feeling is becoming clearer and clearer. I can recognize it better, and I've learned to trust it. So what happened is, even up until yesterday, I had no clue where I wanted to go. And so yesterday was Saturday, today's Sunday, and from tomorrow onwards, no clue. So what happened yesterday night, at 10 o'clock, we got the shuttle back from the Grand Villas to the hotel we're staying. And I was sitting next to Nicole, and I asked her, so what are you doing actually? And she goes, on Wednesday I'm flying to Denver to do a theta healing workshop. And I was like, Denver. I said, you know, I've always wanted to go to Boulder. I've heard it's a really cool place, very spiritual and conscious. And we didn't really go into it. So this morning I went into the ballroom to set up for the pineal gland meditation. Then I popped outside, go to the toilet, and I took out my phone just to see how far Denver and Boulder are. It was only half an hour or so, and I was like, maybe I could go along. And she said also that the workshop might not go through if they don't have enough people, but then she doesn't know what she would do because her driver's license has expired and she wouldn't be able to rent a car. And I'd be like, well, I could rent a car, you know, and just cruise around. And so I just let it go. I go back into the room, and as I'm sitting, you know, waiting for the meditation to start, I see like 2.5 meters away from me, a woman with her back towards me, and her shirt says, "Hecho en Colorado." which means made in Colorado.
No way.
I'm like, what? And I'm just staring at her. And she felt me staring because all of a sudden she turns around, looks at me, and comes towards me, says hi. And I'm like just completely flabbergasted. And I just tell her, you know, this conversation I had yesterday with Nicole and that I was considering of going to Colorado. And she's like, I'm so glad I'm part of your synchronicity. And as she turned to face me, right, on the front it said El Camino, which means the path, the road.
Oh, no shit.
I'm like, okay, I guess this is really on my path.
Yeah, for sure. At that point, you need to follow.
Yeah. And it's the name of the Mexican restaurant of her ex-husband, which apparently is amazing. And
How cool is that?
and she then tells me that that shirt she was wearing the day before for the pineal gland meditation, but as she was coming from outside, she was warm and she took the shirt out and put it on her shoulder. And at some point, until you know she got her seat and everything, she lost the shirt. It had fallen off her shoulder.
Oh, no.
And she couldn't find it. So afterwards she went to Lost and Found, couldn't find it, and several hours later, out of nowhere, she just saw it somewhere in the corner of the room. And she's like, oh, my shirt, my favorite shirt. And that's how she recovered it and decided to wear it today.
No way. So all these things took place, right? All these random coincidences took place simply to show him a path. Like, at that point, if you're not trying to follow it, like, I don't know what else would have to happen. Does God have to come down and slap you and say, walk over here? Like, you know, no. I'm just joking around, but seriously, sometimes if you're in your heart space, you can get these,
Yeah,
for sure.
you
You
pay
get these
attention.
feelings or synchronicities or just guidance, you know. And I know you've all had them before. I know every single person, no matter what you're into or not into, has had these before. And most of the time we ignore them because we rationalize everything and we're told that, you know, this is all just coincidence or whatever. Well, why not try following them once in a while and see what happens?
Yeah, what's the worst that can happen? Like, open yourself up that maybe there is some magic in this life, you know? And then see where that takes you. So we'll see where that takes me. So today's Sunday. On Tuesday, I'm gonna fly to Denver, probably rent a car, drive around. I said to a few people in our team today, as we were saying goodbye, that I'll probably go to Colorado. And they're like, oh, my son lives there. He's into meditation. I'll give you his number. You can meet up with him. Or they say, oh, I have a house there in the mountains. You can stay there. It's like, okay.
Wow.
See, more signs of the universe saying, go, just go. You don't know what's going to happen, but just trust me.
Most likely something good's going to happen. Like,
And you know, your heart always tells you the next step. It doesn't tell you all the steps because that would be boring, right? But it tells you the next step. And then once you get to the next step, it gives you the next step. And like that, you're just rolling into this beautiful new reality that if you had ignored or you just weren't open to seeing those signs, who knows where you would be, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Well, you'd probably be stuck in your past still.
Somewhere where there's
Where
less
you-
magic.
Most likely don't wish to be any longer, right? So, like, just give it a chance.
Yeah. So I think the vlogging will have to continue.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not? Of course.
I'm gonna have to know where you're at these points, man.
Yeah, because tomorrow morning my brother is leaving.
You gotta head back home and get back into the real world, right? Where the challenges await, where chances for growth await. It is important to know that as beautiful as a retreat is and as important and stuff as it is, it's a lot easier to stay in your heart and stay at a high vibe in a place like that, which is why Joe does it, right? He takes us out of our environment for a week, allows us to raise our vibrations, gives us all these tools in a safe environment where we can feel completely abundant. But he only does it so we have the tools to implement them when we get back into our lives, right? Where there are going to be challenges, where our environment is going to test us, and ultimately you want to stay above the environment. You want to keep your vibrations high and try and raise, if anything, your environment or the people in your environment with you. You know, and not allow yourself to be controlled by this environment, because as we all know, that never leads to anything good. It just simply doesn't.
Yeah.
You want to talk about the last coherent healing that we had before we go?
It was beautiful as always.
It really was. It was a bit different, right? Because we didn't do the
walking in a
beforehand.
circle with all of us together. We just went straight into being in groups of 6 to 8 people.
Yeah. I'm
But
wondering
it was
if Joe
just
was
as fine, right?
No, definitely. I'm wondering if he was more confident in our ability to just get into our heart space and
Well, we did that in Mallorca as well.
okay.
And I think it's so that we learn that we can do this easier and faster.
Yeah, it doesn't take.
Because we're getting better and better at it as
Okay.
well.
That makes sense.
And at the end of the day, it's all about opening your heart. You connect to your heart first, and then you're letting that energy channel through your electromagnetic fields of your hands to create more coherence in the patient's electromagnetic field.
Yeah, it was really quite cool for me. I was with a group of people that 3 or 4 of them I knew, so that was different. As every other time, it was just random people, and which was beautiful as well because I got to connect with these brand new souls. But with this one, I could feel the energy of people that I knew, and one of them, hopefully he doesn't mind me saying this, is a man that's not is not somebody you would expect to be crying or being emotional or anything like that, but he also really got into it, and I could feel his energy. I could feel all their energy, and I'm trying to send them all love and let them know, and I've talked to a couple of them, so I know their stories and stuff, and for whatever reason I just went this one with what I was feeling, and so I was trying to send them the different things that I knew that maybe they needed to hear. I just was following my intuition, right? So I was sending him this is not your fault. You were innocent. You're a child during these times. So I was just trying to send love to all of them. And oddly enough, the girl that was sitting across from me that I had just met right before that the healing started says, "Oh, I'm so happy that I was sitting across from you. I felt that you were healing me as well," and that completely floored me because I was not expecting that. I just thought, I wasn't questioning it, but somewhat in my own head, I'm I'm just doing this for myself. Maybe I don't know, but it was really quite nice, and their energy, because they were people I know, kind of affected me a bit more, and brought me. It was just really emotional. We'll put it like that. Really beautiful and really emotional. And I, as always, I felt their energy was healing me just as much as I was healing them. So, and the girl that was a healee was a member of my team. So I thought that was also really cool that I got to try and do whatever I could, and just to try and help this beautiful soul that I'm not sure what she was being healed for. That doesn't really matter, right?
Yeah.
The fact is, we got to try and help
never
people.
ask.
Yeah. It's really hard to explain these Coherent healings and a lot of these meditations for people that haven't experienced them. So, if you get the chance, I really suggest you try. Even if you can't get to an event, there are online groups like Boyan had mentioned before where people do these.
I think those are for people that have done an event. They know the theory behind it and the practice. So go to an event.
Yeah. So pick up a book,
Easy as
man.
that.
Just try it out.
Start with the book.
Start with the books. Start with something. If you really are that lost, put a comment in the video, right? Put a comment in the video.
Yeah.
I'm sure Boyan has time. If not, I'll gladly at least give you a call and try and talk to you and give you whatever information I can. I can't teach you Dr. Joe's work, of course, because I'm not Dr. Joe. I'm simply not qualified. But I could definitely offer a suggestion on how to start. Somewhere where to start, and give you some kind words if that's all you need.
Yeah. Well,
as always, guys, I love you.
I think it's time to wrap it up. Lewis, it has been an absolute pleasure, bro.
For sure, man.
Come here, man.
I can't wait until we can get together again, bro.
Yeah.
Which is gonna be sooner rather than later.
So we actually met through the app for the event, which has a wall where you can write messages and post photos. And I mean, one of us was you.
Yeah, I just asked if anyone needed a roommate.
Yeah. And so
This is why I was saying that I think the universe put his kind soul in my path, man, to help me break out of who I was and become this person that I am now, this person I could be proud to be.
Well, and
sure.
to help all people watching and listening to this, because you bring value, man. Don't forget.
Don't forget about that.
So thank you so much for sticking with us for these videos that keep getting longer every day somehow. I don't know how we do it, but I guess we have stuff to share. And we're very grateful for this experience and for the love and support that you all have.
Absolutely.
You know, like you also say that you feel like you're here with us, and it's great to feel your energy here as well. So
I think that's it.
We're gonna finish off with something quite typical for a Dr. Joe retreat, which is this.
1, 4, 6 at the same time.
Okay, that wasn't at the same time.
Nee, jij kijkt niet naar beneden.
Let's do it again. Okay, we can do better. And 3, 2, 1.
1, 4, 6 at the same time.